The complete works of Swami Vivekananda, Volume 2, Section 4. The speaker did not wish the speaker did not wish to be unliked, unkind, but he wanted to show Christians how they looked in others' eyes. The missionaries who preach the burning pit are regarded with horror. The Mohammedans rolled waves after wave over India, waving the sword, and today, where they are, the farthest that all religions can see is the existence of the spiritual entity. So, no religion can teach beyond this point. In every religion, there is the essential truth and non essential cascade in which this jewel lies. The believing in the Jewish book or the Hindu book is not non essential. Circumstantial changes. The receptacle is different, but the central truth remains. The essential being the same. The educated people of every community retain the essential. The shell of the oyster is not attractive, but the pearl are within. Before a small fraction of the world is converted, Christianity will be divided into many grades. That is the law of nature. Why take a single instrument from a great religious orchestras on earth? Let the grand symphony go on. Be pure, urged the speaker. Give up superstitions and see the wonderful harmony of nature. Superstition gets the better of religion. All the religions are good since the essentials are same. Each man should have the perfect exercise of his individuality, but this individuality form a perfect whole. The marvelous condition is already its existence. Each creed has had something to add to the wonderful structure. The speaker sought throughout to vindicate the religion of his country and said that it had been proven that the entire system of the Roman Catholic Church had been taken from the books of Buddhism. He dilated at some length on the high code of morality and purity of life that ethics of Buddha taught, but allowed that as far as the belief in the personality of God was concerned, agnosticism prevailed, the main thing being to follow out Buddha's precept, which were be good, be moral, be perfect. Next lecture. Next. From Far Off India. Published in Saginaw Courier Herald. Saginaw Courier Herald, March 22nd, 1894. Seated in the lobby of the Hotel Vincent yesterday evening was a strong and regular featured man of fine presence, whose swarthy skin made more pronounced the pearly whiteness of his even teeth. Under a broad and high forehead, his eyes betoken intelligence. This gentleman was Swami Vivekananda, the Hindu preacher. Mr. Vivekanand con- conversation Mr. Vivekananda's conversation is in pure and grammatically constructed English sentences to which his silent foreign accent lend piquancy. Readers of the Detroit paper are aware that Mr. Vivekanand has lectured in the city a number of times and aroused the animosity of some of an account on an account of his stricture upon Christians. The Courier Herald representative had a few moment conversation with the learned Buddhist just before he left for the academy where he was to lecture. Mr. Vivekanand said in conversation that he was surprised at the lapses from the path of rectitude which were so common among Christians, but that there was a good and bad to be found among members of all religious body. One statement he made was decidedly un-American. Upon being asked if he had been investigating our institution, he replied, "No, I am a preacher only." This display both a want of curiosity and narrowness, which seemed foreign to one who appeared to be so well versed upon religion topic as did the Buddhist preacher. From the hotel to the academy was but a step, and at 8 o'clock, Roland Connor introduced to a small audience the lecturer, who was dressed in a long orange colored robe, fastened by a red sash, and who wore a turban of bindling of what appeared to be a narrow shawl. The lecturer stated at the opening that he had not come as a missionary and that it was not the part of a Buddhist to convert others from their faith and belief. He said that the subject of his address would be the harmony of religion. Mr. Vivekananda said that many ancient religions had been founded and were dead and gone. He said that Buddhist, that is Hindu, comprises two-thirds of the race and that the other third comprises those of other believers. He said that the Buddhists have no place of future torment of men for men, in that they differ from the Christians who will forgive a man for 5 minutes in this world and condemn him to everlasting punishment in the next. Buddha was the first to teach the universal brotherhood of men. It is the cardinal principle of the Buddhist faith today. The Christian preaches it but does not practice its own teachings. He instanced the condition of the Negro in the South, who is not allowed in hotel nor to ride in the same cars with the white, and it is been to whom no decent man will speak. He said that he had been in the South and spoke from his knowledge and observation. Next, An Evening with Our Hindu Cousins, published in Northampton Daily Herald, April 16, 1894. For Swami Vivekananda proved conclusively that all our neighbors across the water, even the remotest, are 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 close cousins, differently only a trifle in color, language, custom, and religion. The silver-tongued Hindu monk prefacing his address in the City Hall Saturday evening, April 14, by an historic sketch of the origin of his own and all other leading nations of the earth, which demonstrated the truth that race kinship is more of a simple fact than many know or always care to admit. The informal address that followed regarding some of the customs of the Hindu people was more of the nature of the prison parlor talk, expressed with the easy freedom of the conversational adept, and to those of his hearers possessing a natural and cultivated interest in the subject, both the man and his thoughts were intensely interesting for more reason than what then can be given here. But to others, the speaker was disappointing in not covering a large scope of in his word speech. The address, although extremely lengthy for the American lecture platform, referring to very few of the custom and manners of a particular people considered and of whose personal, civil, home, social, and religious life much more would have been gladly heard from this one of the finest representative of this oldest of race, which the average student of human nature should find preeminently interesting but really knows the least about. The allusion of the life of the Hindu began with the picture of the Hindu boy, his introduction to the educational training, his marriage, slight reference to the home life, but not what was expected. The speaker diverged frequently to take comparative comments on the custom and ideas of his own. An English-speaking racist, socially, morally, and religiously, the inference in all cases been clear in favor of his own, although most courteously, kindly, and gracefully expressed. Some of his auditors, who are tolerably well posted as to social and family condition among the Hindus of all classes would have liked to have asked the speaker a challenging question or two on a good many of the points he touched upon. For instance, when he so eloquently and beautifully portrayed the Hindu idea of womanhood as the divine motherhood idea to be forever reverenced, even worshipped with the devotion of loyalty, such as the most woman respecting, unselfish, and trusty of American sons, husbands, and fathers cannot even conceive of. One would have liked to know what the reply would have been to the query as to how far this beautiful theory is exemplified in practice in majority of Hindu homes, which hold wives, mothers, daughters, and sisters. The rebuke to the greed for gain, the national vice of luxury seeking, self seeking, the dollar caste sentiment which tend the dominant white European and American race to their mortal danger, morally and civilly, was only too just and superbly very well put. The slow, soft, quite unimpassioned or impassioned musical voice, embodying its thought with all the power and fire of a most vehement physical utterance, and went straight to the mark like the "Thou art the man" of the prophet. But when this learned Hindu nobleman by birth, nature, culture attempts to prove, as he repeatedly did, in his frequent and apparent half-conscious digression from the special point under consideration that the distinctively self-centered, self-cultivating, preeminently self soul-saving, negative and passive, not to say selfish, indolent religion of his race has proven itself superior in its usefulness to the world, to the vitally aggressive, self-forgetful, do good unto other first, last, and always. Go you into all the world and work religion which we call Christianity in whole name ninth nine-tenth of all the really practical, moral, spiritual, and philanthropic work of the world has been and is being done. Whatever said gross mistakes have been made by its unwise zealots, he attempts a straight contract, but to see and hear Swami Vivekananda is an opportunity which no intelligent, fair-minded American ought to miss if one cares to see a shining light of very finest product of the mental, moral, spiritual culture of a race which reckons its age by thousands, where we counts are by hundred, and is richly worth the study of every mind. Sunday afternoon, April 15, the distinguished Hindu spoke to the student of Smith College at the Vesper service. The fatherhood of God and brotherhood of men been virtually his theme, and that the address made a deep impression is convinced by the report of every auditor. The broadest liberality of true religious sentiment and percept characterizing the whole trend of thoughts.